1/64, 1/43, and 1/18 scale. All sizes of some of your favorite model cars. But depending on what country you're in, the prices change dramatically. Over the past few months, I've been traveling all across Asia: Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and Singapore. And in every single country, I walked in model car shops to see what $1,000 could get you. The idea sounded simple: compare prices, scales, and brands. But then I realized something deeper: that where you buy actually changes what kind of collector you are. Some countries and stores sell abundance, others sell exclusivity. And along the way, I learned which places are worth buying from, which are just for sightseeing, and how much shipping and tariffs actually eat into your cost. So today, I'll break it down: what $1,000 buys across 4 countries, the wins, the mistakes, and what I wish I knew before packing my suitcase full of die-cast and resin models. Let's start with the country that started it all: Japan. Japan's the collector's paradise. You can find Tomica in convenience stores, MiniGT in almost every hobby shop, and CMCs sitting behind glass like museum jewelry. It's the kind of place where a random train station may have a model car you've never seen before, like one of those gacha machines. You walk into Don Quixote late at night with neon lights everywhere, and next to the snacks and the tourist merch, there's literally an aisle full of Tomicas for $3 a piece, cheaper than what you'd pay in the US, and the shelves are restocked daily. You think you'll grab just 1 or 2, but then you see the premiums: better wheels, painted headlights, more features, and suddenly your basket's full. But that's only the surface. Head to Tam Tam, Super Autobacks, or the secondhand shops in Akihabara. That's where it gets dangerous. Imagine a 3-story building where everything is dedicated to hobbies: slot cars, dioramas, model cars, model kits, entire glass walls filled with model cars you've never seen before. So if you're me, you start with picking up a 1/12 scale AutoArt Lamborghini that's 30% cheaper than eBay. Then a Kyosho 1/43 scale Lamborghini for about $20. And then it adds up. It's like walking through a candy store that knows your credit limit. For $1,000 here, you could build a complete collection: a couple dozen Tomicas, including the premiums, maybe 10 MiniGTs, half a dozen INNO 64s, and still afford a couple big models like AutoArt or makeup models. And the best part: as a foreigner anywhere in Asia, you buy tax-free. Show your passport, they fill out a form, and you save 10% on the purchase. But it's really dangerous. Everything's so available, perfectly packaged, that you start rationalizing every decision. $10? Psh, that's nothing. It's a Japan exclusive. I have to buy it. By the time I left Tokyo, half of my suitcase was full of cars, and 50 pounds of model cars were in boxes being posted away back to the United States. And I still wasn't done. Then there's Taiwan, probably the most underrated country for model cars. It's smaller, quieter, but the deals way better than what I expected. I started in Taipei. When I was looking for electronics to bring home as souvenirs, turns out the Sintren Mall doesn't just sell electronics, but they've got stores full of model cars. The prices felt off in a good way. Tomica Limited Vintages were going for about $20, MiniGTs for around $10, and 1/18 scale models were even cheaper than Japan. For example, I purchased this exact AutoArt Lamborghini Aventador there for $200. On eBay, if you can find it, it's $500. The owners were a lot friendlier too. Some offered bundle discounts if I paid in cash, and even some of them posted me on Instagram. One of them, who's my friend now, called me a crazy foreigner because of how much I spent. You don't see that in Japan. It's all fixed pricing, and if you want it, you can go and buy it. Here, collecting feels personal, like trading cards, not transactions. The downside? Well, shipping from Taiwan is really expensive. A single 10-pound box cost me about $120 to ship home, and the shipping took forever. The process of getting the package out in the mail was already difficult enough. See, the thing is, I went to the post office with my Taiwanese family, and when we were there, we got no assistance for EMS shipping. The website didn't work. I kept having to reinsert my information dozens of times. It was a mess. And of course, once it's all said and done and the package is shipped out, a huge chunk of your savings is gone because you spend so much on shipping. Still, if you're hunting for rare model cars or limited colorways, Taiwan is the secret spot. It's like Japan's garage sale: quieter, cheaper, but full of surprises if you dig deep enough. Next was South Korea, a place known more for skincare than cars, but don't underestimate it. The model car community here is smaller, but much more refined. Most stores aren't massive, but they're really clean, curated, and it almost feels like you're walking in a gallery. When I was invited to visit a model car store in Seoul, I saw every car was perfectly organized under LED light with no dust or mess around. And the shelves are filled with some pretty high-end stuff: Ignition, makeup, Tarmac Works, MiniGT, and even the lesser known brands. But what about the prices? Much lower. That same MiniGT that costs $18 in Japan, $8 here. Since the market is small, you can't risk upcharging to take advantage of collectors. Otherwise, you'll get a bad rep. And on top of that, you just won't get any business because it's so easy to buy from Yahoo Auctions or any other Asian marketplace and pay almost nothing for shipping. But as I said, South Koreans treat collection differently. It's all about presentation. The stores I saw definitely had less cars, but they display them perfectly. I made friends with a viewer on TikTok, and he said to visit the 64th shop that I mentioned earlier. They had 2 walls of model cars. One wall was for cars that are for sale sale in some of the owner's collection, and the other wall was full of custom dioramas that were gorgeous to look at. I had to resist the urge to figure out how to take at least one home. That store stuck with me. Then came Singapore. If Japan is the collector's playground, then Singapore is the luxury showroom. Everything here felt premium. I stayed along Orchard Road, and all the shops were very luxurious. Spotless floors, perfect presentations, even in the smaller malls. The one store I visited was pretty cool. They're named the Toy Space, and they are near Orchard Road in the Far East Plaza. They had these beautiful glass cabinets with soft lighting, and every model car was organized perfectly, whether it was their 1/64 scale or even their 1/18 scale BBRs. But this perfection definitely comes at a cost. A Hung King Collectibles Lamborghini that cost $30 in Hong Kong, well, it was nearly $70 there. A BBR Ferrari that sells for $250 in the United States or Japan, it was $500. And it's not a scam, it's just Singapore. With import duties, rent, and the overall cost of living, it all adds up. But the thing is, Singapore collectors don't seem to mind. They're not buying to save, they're buying to showcase. And I met a younger collector who said he bought model cars to match his parents' real cars. So that should sum it up to you. It's less about collecting and more about curating perfection. And Singapore does it right. So for $1,000 in Singapore, you're not gonna walk away with many pieces, but they'll be beautiful, high-end, and you can display them like art. If you're a completionist, Singapore isn't the country to look for, but if you're a perfectionist and you want the best, it's absolute heaven. So now let's do a comparison. Where does your $1,000 go the furthest? In Japan, it's all about variety and access. You can buy anything and anywhere. If you watched my last video, you saw that I got this CMC Ferrari 250 GTO for $1,000. And while that's the full budget about what we're talking about, this one back in the United States is worth $3,000. And it's for sale if you email me. But not everything was expensive. I got this 40-year-old Tomica set full of some of my favorite supercars for $7. And this Resin 4 GT, that's worth $350, $100. And of course, I didn't spend just $1,000 in Japan. Obviously, the CMC was that alone, but I was able to get dozens of Tomicas, MiniGTs, Kyoshos, and anything else you can think of for good prices. So if you want to start, I would definitely recommend going to Japan. But Taiwan, this place has the best prices if you're willing to handle the shipping headache. When I was in Taiwan, it was the Tomica Expo. So already, you're gonna get the tax-free discount at their store. USD is definitely gonna be a winner. But since it's Tomica itself, there's no markups. So I was able to get Tomica event exclusives for dollars, and those are $30 if not more in the United States. And that alone, I got probably 100 of them. But not only that, one of which was this Tomica event edition Lamborghini Huracan Performante. See, the cool thing about this Lamborghini is that it interacts with the event itself. See, this one lights up and you can use this to play around. But also, my friend who owns the model car shop sold me this AutoArt Lamborghini for less than $200. And this goes for $500 on eBay. But what about South Korea? Well, in South Korea, I found so many MiniGTs, BBRs, and Kaido houses for cheap. MiniGTs were literally $8 there. And honestly, that's as cheap as you're gonna get them unless you're buying directly from MiniGT as a vendor, or maybe in another country with a little bit weaker currency. So I got this Kaido house, these BBRs, and MiniGT. And comparing all of this to the United States, even after exchange rates and tax-free discounts, Japan and Taiwan win by about 25 to 30% on average. But, and this is where people get caught, shipping ruins the math. When you buy abroad, you don't just pay sticker price. You pay for shipping weight, insurance, import duty, and sometimes brokerage fees. That $60 model can easily turn into $85 by the time it arrives. And if it gets damaged in transit, good luck explaining fragile 1/18 scale resin body to customs. During my travels, I experienced a lot of headaches shipping cars home. Since I set a total of about 100 pounds, I had sent out many packages from many countries. Taiwan was stressful to ship at because it was raining and I got no help. The site kept crashing and it was miserable to deal with. On top of that, it was pretty expensive. In South Korea, they didn't speak English at the post office, so instead of wanting to translate with me, they just gave me their computer to go fill out all the customs information. And in Japan, it's a more straightforward process initially because a lot of foreigners are shipping stuff home. The thing is, Japan and the United States kind of got into a big tariff battle, so a lot of my packages were rejected by customs and returned to sender. The thing is, I don't own a home there and I was only staying at a hotel, so I had to send it to my package forwarder that I don't really trust and wait in limbo for 2 weeks to see if these thousands of dollars in model cars are actually gonna make it, and then pay for them to get shipped back again. Oh, and on top of that, I received a huge tariff bill for my most recent Japan package, $500. So yeah, you save money only if you buy smart, and the tricky thing about it is deciding if you want to bring it home in your luggage or ship in bulk throughout or at the end of your trip. So here's what I realized after doing the math. The best deals don't come from the cheapest newest countries, they come from timing. When I was in Japan, the yen was at its lowest in years, meaning I got a huge discount on everything just from the currency conversion. That's more than the tax-free savings already. And then if you add that 10% plus credit card discounts, you're doing pretty well. But also you had to be careful about shipping. I chose a pretty bad time to ship model cars home, so I didn't get too lucky as maybe some other people. So sometimes it's not about where you buy, but when. The global economy literally changes how much your hobby costs, and collectors don't really talk about that enough. And to put it clearly, it's the same reason why some people make profit flipping these model cars, and some people lose money doing the same thing. And when you start to collect really seriously, you start realizing this is not just about buying toys, but playing a financial game disguised as fun. So here are some pictures of the model cars that made it home before I did. My parents unboxed it and sent these pictures, and they probably thought I was crazy. And when you add all these cars up, it's not just a model car from wherever you bought it. Each model car has a story, from the hobby shop you went to the distance it took to get there and bring it back to your hotel, how you afforded it, how you shipped it home. So when I eventually display them all, it's not just a bunch of model cars together. It's a little travel diary of one of the coolest trips I've ever taken in my entire life. So was it worth it? Honestly, yes. Not because I saved a ton of money, but because each country showed me a different side of the hobby that I've been involved in for my entire life. Japan taught me accessibility, Taiwan taught me bargaining, Korea taught me presentation, and Singapore taught me restraint and budgeting. You don't just buy cars, you buy stories. You buy the feeling of chasing something you love halfway across the world and finding a version of it you never knew existed. That's worth more than any discount. So if you're planning your own model car hunt across Asia, I hope this helped you stretch that $1,000 just a bit further. Comment below which country you want to see next: Hong Kong, Malaysia, and maybe even Thailand. And make sure to subscribe, because next episode, I'll be showing you the best ways to display your model cars, because I got a bunch of boxes sitting around. So thank you for watching, and if you excuse me, I have some shelves to reorganize.